My father ran a pawn shop, so I used to go carry his lunch, give him lunch, and give him free time to have his lunch. And I used to sit at the shop. So many people who will be rude to you, who will be like, who will look down upon you, and there are people who look eye to eye and like don't treat you indifferently. तो पता चलता है कि okay, दुनिया में कैसे कैसे टाइप के लोग हैं. Sometimes you know when people who you've lost connection with, and then you meet them. They're like, अरे ये तो हम लोग के सामने रैप करता था. I'm like, मैं तुम लोग के सामने कभी रैप नहीं करता था. कि मुंबई मिरर के पेपर पे मेरा आर्टिकल आया था, so I showed it to him. And मेरे सामने सही है. He then took that paper to the shop and like everyone who was who he knew was walking up to him. He was like, ये देखो मेरा बेटा पेपर में है, ये देखो मेरा बेटा पेपर. He saw me on TV before passing over. Sadly, he couldn't see the pop, like the moment where things escalated, because the day Jalaluddin aired is the day he collapsed. So I was just scrolling through my message requests and I'm like, verified 25 million followers. Who's mentioned me? And I'm like, Samantha Ruth Prabhu. Later I got to know that she was going through a tough time in her life back then. Like she had, that song gave her the motivation to, you know, get up every day, work out. You can really get what you want if you want it with all your heart.
Hi Gravity, welcome to After Our Season 4 powered by Pulse.
Thank you.
You know I've been a fan of you because I have told you this previously.
Yes.
So I'm just very, very excited to have you here.
Same. Glad to be here and thank you for having me.
Matlab, my brother and I have heard Jalaluddin on our way to work so many times.
That's crazy.
I think, matlab, मुझे ऐसे लगता है वो मेरे top 10 songs में आता है, which is why, you know, when I heard it, I was just like, I have to tell you that I absolutely love that song. Clearly, I'm not the only one because Samantha saw Prabhu thought the same way.
Yeah, man. I mean, just can't, like it became inescapable after a while because everybody just wants to hear Jalaluddin. Like perform karke dikha do ek baar, please. It's crazy.
I mean, of course, I know you've spoken about it.
Yeah.
I want to actually ask you, how are you feeling today? Being where you are today, just how much it's taken out of you to get here. How does it feel today?
I mean, you know, I am someone who never feels fulfilled, no matter what I do. Like, I can achieve the greatest thing in the world and it still feels like, okay, what next? Like, I'll celebrate it, I'll live in the moment, but it's always like, ab aage kya karna hai? Like, I never stop at like, oh, I've achieved something, let's hoo-ha. That never happens for some weird reason. Like, I don't know if it's weird or it's just like the general mindset of someone who just wants to evolve and like, you know, reach the next level. But मेरा ये scene है like I like आज भी मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि कल क्या करना है, like what next, like what to do for the album, what can be the promo, etc. Like दिमाग में यही सब चलता रहता है.
नहीं पर वो तो क्योंकि you're an ambitious person, right? मतलब I think from where you started off, then many years later I would imagine hustle happened.
Yeah.
और I think उसने तो खैर मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि इंडियन हिप हॉप को की इंट्रोडक्शन मेरे लिए has been hustle, especially your season. My mom introduced me to रिहाई, फिर मैंने रिहाई सुना तो मैंने बहुत सारे और गाने सुने and I think मैं तो it was like my world changed क्योंकि I was introduced to an art form I think that I knew so little about क्योंकि हम मतलब बचपन में of course you've heard Eminem and you've heard Jay-Z and whatever, but I think my ignorance that it wasn't my exposure, but now I'm addicted to the scene, you know, and I love it and I feel like you guys were probably the best few in season 2.
It's undisputed. It's
season 2 से better मुझे नहीं लगता है. This is my opinion. Sorry guys.
I think
season 4 Sujal for me. and season 2, you, Srishti, MC Paradox. I think these 5 will be my top from Hustle.
Definitely. That's like a lot of people's top
I
5.
think general
But there were-
consensus यही है.
There were other real, like the entire like top 16 was crazy for like our season.
हाँ, मतलब वो तो सभी बहुत अच्छे थे.
Yeah.
But I think some of you just very obviously
Yeah. For
stood
sure.
out.
For sure.
And then I had the pleasure of talking to Srishti about it. तो उसने मुझे थोड़ा of course अपनी कहानी के बारे में बताया. But today, how are you, like how do you see Hustle as a platform?
Hustle, I mean, for me, it was life changing. Like there's a life before Hustle and there's a life after Hustle. And I think it also applies to everyone who was there, especially for, like, I can speak for the guys who I spent the time there with. And like, बहुत मजा आया. Like, when I went in, I think I was really struggling, like, to make ends meet through rap. Like, I was already established, people knew, and like there was also this sentiment like, why is Gravity going to Hustle?
हाँ, क्योंकि आप scene में तो थे.
Yeah, because I was already established. I had already dropped a couple of songs that were known. I was doing shows, so people were giving me a like kind of a side eye in the hip hop scene. So that was there, but for me it was like, I just looked at it like another platform for me to, you know, showcase my skills on. I didn't go there for any, and I think it applies to most of the people in my season. We were there to show what we can do, कि हम कितने काबिल आर्टिस्ट है, कितने बढ़िया परफॉर्मर्स है. हम वहाँ शायद क्लाउड चेस करने या फिर पॉपुलैरिटी चेस करने, वो तो ऑब्वियसली गोल होता ही है, बट इट वाज मोर सो लाइक, let's show the world what we can do, because everybody knew that this is life changing for all of us.
Yeah.
And it did. Like, it definitely did. And Hustle really, like, you know, elevated all of us from where we were to a newer level. And granted, it's also everyone's hard work and you know, everyone's dedication to doing this thing. But I think because of the platform that Hustle was, and because of the talent level, I think it was just the perfect marriage. And then boom, चीजें बदल गई उसके बाद.
हाँ, मतलब चीजें तो खैर I think season 1 में King onwards ही बहुत बदल गई थी. But I think him coming in as a contestant, then you know,
I mean,
becoming a mentor also. But
that was, his journey is also crazy. But season 2 was after lockdown, so you know, there was like a 3-year gap between season 1 and season 2. So King had a long time to, you know,
gestation period tha.
Yeah, where he was grinding and then he came up. Like, he was big in Hustle, but I think his post Hustle songs made him king. Whereas season 2, like, the songs were already super huge. Like, I don't think any season has had like 300 million plus songs. Season 2 had it, so, which is insane. Like, when you say 100 million, it's like a crazy number.
अभी भी लोग जाते हैं. मतलब if you go, who's here in 2025 वाला, you know, kind of comments in pretty much all songs.
All like Hustle songs still like chart or like are still on the trending pages. It's insane. Like, I'm like, how does something, you know, leave an impact that is so huge? But I guess that's just a testament to everyone's skill, and like Hustle 2.0's brilliance.
Yeah. You know, in Jalaluddin, I wanted to ask you because I want to get to know you a little better. And one of the lyrics, of course, like the most obvious thing is, Dunya ko maine kaha, get down on your knees. What are you feeling when you're writing that? Is that rage? Is that anger? Is that, I don't know, like life offering redemption? I don't know. But what were you thinking when you're writing that song? Because I have interpreted it as a war cry song.
Yes.
You know, it's motivated me to like just get up.
Definitely.
So what were you thinking when you were writing it?
So between the season, I had to go visit my parents, I guess, something or the other, and I was traveling via train. So that's when I was playing the beat for Jalaluddin on loop, and I was just like bobbing my head to the beat, and I was thinking like, this beat is so like raging, and battle rounds hote hain and normal songs hote hain. So this was a battle song.
Yeah.
This was not supposed to be performed on an episode, like as a first performance. Agar मैं battle zone में गया, तो Jalaluddin would be my battle song. But Konichiwa happened, and I was sick during that week. So I was writing in the train and I was like, दुनिया को मैंने कहा get down on your knees. चला theme. And it just made sense. Like it didn't ऐसा नहीं कि कुछ और line आई थी और फिर मैंने change किया. This was the first thought that came to my head. And it was because it was a battleground and I wanted, there was kind of an anger, you know, because when you put 100% work in for all these years, grind in the underground, do ciphers, um, do shows for free, protest gigs, whatnot, and then you still look at like mediocre music getting its due, and you have given your 100% each time you've put the pen to the pad. So it sometimes becomes a little disencouraging, and sometimes it makes you resentful,
Yeah.
and sometimes that resentment can turn into rage. So I used it as fuel to put out a positive message. कि if someone plays this, they should feel like they are saying it, and it should make them do something,
It makes me feel powerful. I think
Yes,
that is where I
exactly.
come from.
Exactly. That was the intent. Like if when I said it, I felt so powerful. I'm like, this is the exact feeling that everybody else will feel as well. So I should go ahead with it. And then I don't think it took more than an hour to write that song.
कैसे कैसे लिख लेते हो आप लोग?
I mean, it's years and years of practice, years and years of
Like घंटे
freestyling.
में कोई ऐसा गाना कैसे लिख सकता है?
मैंने 15 मिनटों में, like Matchstick, one of my biggest songs, I've written it in like 25-30 minutes. So it's like some songs are just like they come to you, you know.
देखो as someone who's not an artist मुझे तो ये बिल्कुल समझ नहीं आता, but I'm sure it's true because so many of you managed to
Yeah,
do it.
like even HMK said, like Big Dogs, he wrote it in like 15-20 minutes, and I was like, yeah, relatable. Like you just don't know
What a
happens.
rage that guy is, yeah.
HMK is a cool ass dude, man. He's very chill.
Crazy. I don't know.
And he's still the same dude. Like I met him, and he didn't like act like he's achieved what he has achieved,
Yeah.
because
Just for everyone's reference, HMK is Hanuman Kai.
Hanuman Kind.
Yeah.
And I have known him like since like 2020, I guess. Like we've been following each other. We also wanted to work with each other, but it never panned out because he was doing his own thing, I was doing my own thing. But whenever we meet, it's love. He's a really chill dude, and Southside represent.
Yeah. Tell us something about him that we wouldn't know, just so the audience also gets to know him a little better.
He hits like 100 push-ups before his shows.
Really?
Yeah, before every show, he hits like 100 push-ups. So I'm like, okay, dude, ठीक है भाई.
Whatever works for whoever.
Yeah.
मतलब.
It's crazy though, like
Crazy.
to do that and then to go on and put a 45-50 minute set. It's crazy, insane energy.
Do you forget your lyrics on stage?
Not really.
Because everything you guys do is so wordy and mouthy that it would be easy to slip up.
It's
actually.
very easy to slip up, and it happens. Like you must have seen in Hustle,
हाँ,
a lot of times people fumbled, people forgot their lyrics,
yeah.
And that happens because there is like a very short amount of time to write and remember these songs during some weeks. But how I write is I write it in a scat where it is like there is a certain melody to it, even though it's straight rap. Like if you see, तेरी picture खत्म ये ना climax पे wave fights के लुटेरे हमें pirates so it just like it gets stuck in your head because there is a staccato to it, or there is like a rhythm to it, and anything you give rhythm to, I think it makes a place in your head.
So you've not had that faux pas yet कि भूल गए?
I didn't forget. I don't know what had happened, but in Pop Smoke there were two words that I had like skipped because I don't know what had happened in that moment. Like it's a blur to me, like what had exactly happened in that moment. But other than that, I don't think I have forgotten lyrics.
Captain, what do you derive your inspiration from? Like if I was to ask you, कि अलग-अलग इमोशंस को आप अलग-अलग टाइम पे पेन टू पेपर लिखते हो या फिर एक जनरल इमोशन की रिप्रेजेंटेशन आप करते हो इन योर म्यूजिक?
I think, like, let me put it this way, that the music is usually the catalyst for everything. If the beat is talking to me and telling me to cry about something, for example, then I'll do that.
So you go beat to lyrics.
Yeah, I go beat to lyrics. Originally, when I started out, like initially back in 2013, 2014, I used to just write, even without beats, because I just knew how to catch a meter. So I would just write in my head and then spit it on any beat. But as time went by, I realized like, oh, this is the business of making music. So to make music, you need the music first. Like you can obviously go with the words first, but I have now adapted to this technique where I listen to the beat first. If the beat clicks, then I write on it.
जैसे क्योंकि बॉलीवुड में दोनों चीजें होती हैं.
Yeah,
You do music to lyrics and then sometimes you do lyrics to
It's the other
music.
way around.
Yeah, so I'm assuming
Same. But for me, it's like 90% it's beat first.
Beat
I
first.
would even say 95. Yeah.
Do you think the hip hop scene has evolved the way it ought to have? कि अभी बहुत scope है इसमें.
बहुत scope तो definitely है, but from where we started, we are at a different tier. Like it's unbelievable sometimes that we are here. Like people like Pusha T and Nas are coming to India. It's mind blowing to me. These people are my idols. These people are my heroes. Like इनको सुन के मैंने rap करना सीखा है कहीं ना कहीं. And to see these guys on the like in the motherland performing on the same stages that we do, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
My cousins called me the other day. They were like, Travis Scott is coming.
Yeah, Travis is coming to
Yeah.
India.
He's like, do you have passes? I said, boss, I'm not that cool. Like, मुझे आके कोई
mean,
नहीं दे रहा Travis.
I'm a die-hard hip hop fan, but those tickets are expensive.
Yeah. And वो मिल भी नहीं रही. I think वो सब
It's already
waitlist में
sold
थे. हाँ.
But he's announced another show now to make up for it. I'm like, okay, great.
Hip hop में हैं पैसे?
I mean, see, पैसे बनाने वाला कहीं भी पैसा बना सकता है, in my opinion. If you know,
Interesting. Elaborate करो इस पे.
like when I was underground, I used to ghost ride. I used to, write for ads, and I used to like find all these like obscure jobs and do it and make my money on the side. Then as you get into the business of hip hop, there are labels that you can deal with. There are brand offerings, and like the most important thing is if you've built a brand. Like I've always focused on making Gravity a brand.
Yeah.
Artists, so obviously you have to improve yourself and keep evolving. But if you want to sustain as an artist and really make money as a rapper, especially like singers and everything, there's already a set model. This is something that we are creating the model for this thing. So you gotta understand that what is my personality, who am I, what does my music represent, and then you have to build your brand accordingly. The way you look, the way you talk, the way you dress, and the way you present your videos, everything comes into play. So I think I've balanced it out in a way where brands also can approach me, the underground relates to me, but because of hustle now even the mainstream people know me. So I think it's a very nice lane that I've carved out for myself, and I think everyone else should also focus on that. Carve your own lane, own niche, and that helps you make the money that you want to as a hip hop artist.
तो अक्षय और ग्रेविटी में क्या कॉमन है?
कॉमन तो मतलब पूरा सेम ही आदमी है.
नाम को छोड़ के सब सेम है.
हाँ, but I think becoming Gravity taught me that lot of people can try to latch onto you to leverage off of your success, off of what you've made for yourself. So that happens sometimes. So Gravity has smartened up and learned to tackle that. But
Akshay can be taken advantage of.
Yeah, very easily.
You're easy to manipulate.
I think I am a very सुनने में अजीब लगेगा, but I am a very innocent person like that. Like like I am very straightforward. I don't like scam people or anything like that. So it's easy for someone to scam me. But
my sister's like that. वो भी बड़ी जल्दी scam हो जाती है सबसे.
Yeah, it used to, but जब इतने like 2-3 बार scam हो जाओ फिर समझ जाता है okay.
ये कैसे scam थे जो हैं आपके साथ? बताओ थोड़ा, हम भी सीखें.
I mean like सबसे crazy तो मेरे साथ हुआ था बोरीवली स्टेशन पे. So there was this like this is not a scam, but it's like a street scam.
Yeah.
So there was this guy, he like वो beggar था, तो आया और पैसे मांगे, तो मैंने जो था मेरे हाथ में ही 10 का नोट था, तो मैंने दे दिया. तो बोलता है ऐसा आशीर्वाद देने का कुछ तो एक्टिंग वगैरह किया, और फिर बोलता है जो भी वॉलेट में एक बड़ा नोट है वो दो, ऐसा। तो मैं फोन पे भी था, तो मैंने ऐसा नाइविटी में उसको दे दिया बड़ा नोट। अब वो ऐसा करता है मंतर, मेरे सर पे घुमाता है और अपनी झोली में डाल देता है। I was like, oh shit. And
Listen,
I'm
that's
just looking at him. I'm like,
you're too simple then if you fell
"Man."
for this.
Yeah. And this
तो
was,
बहुत ही भोले हो फिर।
हाँ, थोड़ा हो जाता है
मेरी
ऐसे।
बहुत क्यूट सी जो मेरी छोटी बहन है वो भी ऐसी ही है, भोली सी है, वो भी स्कैम हो जाती है
Yeah,
किसी से भी।
so that's why like once like ये एक दो तीन तीन चार बार हो गया मेरे साथ, फिर मैं बोला भाई
हम्म।
I won't entertain
बड़े
you.
स्कैम हुए लाइक हार्ट ब्रेक?
Luckily not. Like I don't indulge myself a lot in that kind of situation.
इन लव?
No, 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 not in love. Like in situations where I can get scammed and like get my heart broken.
बट
I
हाउ डू यू नो? जाने से पहले कैसे पता होता है कि होएगा हार्ट ब्रेक कि नहीं?
because I never like rush into a relationship. I take my time assessing the situation and the person, and then go ahead with whatever. Because it's like I am not the kind of guy who who messes around and then just like goes on to the next hookup kind of. Like I like building relationships in my life. So
Very uncommon for a rapper,
yeah,
I must tell you.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think your other folks and
I've
contemporaries are working
I
like
have not
this.
met anyone who's like I think there are a couple of guys, but yeah, जो immediate ऐसा दिमाग में आते हैं उनमें से तो I don't.
हाँ, नहीं मैंने तो नहीं सुनी है ये कहानियाँ।
I think it's just like the way I was brought up. Like I
Hmm.
just saw the world for what it was. So
Tell me a little about growing up.
Hmm.
You said you saw the world for what it was. What does that mean? What did you learn growing up? What
I
did that teach you?
I used to live in Bhainder. Like I used to live in Bhainder during my school days. Then I shifted to Nalasopara, and then I'm back in Bhainder again. But back when I was growing up, my father ran a pawn shop.
Hmm.
So he used to have me sit there during evenings, and then ultimately the shift elongated. So I used to go carry his lunch, give him lunch, and give him free time to have his lunch. And I used to sit at the shop. Then he would come back in the evening, and then we both would run the shop till like 11 p.m. And then cops would come around. So you have to shut the shop. So उस time पे like when you sit in a place like that and you see so many faces, so many people, so many attitudes, so many different ways of talking, so many people who will be rude to you, who will be like, who will look down upon you, and there are people who look eye to eye and like don't treat you indifferently. तो पता चलता है कि ओके दुनिया में कैसे कैसे टाइप के लोग हैं, दुनियादारी थोड़ी जल्दी समझ आ जाती है. स्कैमिंग वाला सिचुएशन ही बस मुझे नहीं समझ आया बिकॉज आई एम अ लिटिल टू नाइव फॉर दैट आई गेस, बट other than that I really
You
understood.
understand people.
I understood people and like how to assess someone and like tell if they are looking down on you or looking like at you like an equal or just
कैसे
an
assess
enemy.
करते हैं कि somebody is
I
it a
think
feeling?
it's a feeling. It's more so a feeling. You can just like यहाँ पे ऐसा अजीब सा भारी सा फील होने लगता है when somebody is not matching that energy. So I think that's how I assess it. I just get that feeling like this is a weird situation for me to be in, so let's just bounce from it.
But when you feel disrespected like that, does that fuel your art? What do you go back home and do?
It definitely fuels everything. Like दोस्तों के सामने 20 गालियां और फिर pen to the pad, and like you will take that and make it such a big idea and write something that can inspire someone who's being disrespected and push them to ignore it and keep moving. So I think that is what the immediate response here hota hai. But kabhi kabhi you feel down as well. It's not like always I'm gonna put this to the pad and make great lyrics. Sometimes you actually feel bad and like it can put you down for a while. So, but it's not happened in a long time, so I'm good.
No, and I don't think it should happen to anyone. And of
Yeah,
course, you are so worthy of all the good things. So I just hope that they like continue happening for you.
Definitely.
And I mean, I think your music just reaches so many people.
Yeah.
I'm sure so many people जो I think नहीं आपको रिस्पेक्ट दे रहे थे उनको शायद याद भी ना हो पर वो आपके गाने सुन रहे होंगे अपनी गाड़ी में.
Yeah. it happens, but even like sometimes, you know, when people who you've lost connection with, and then you meet them, and then you know how they try to be like, they're like, अरे ये तो हम लोग के सामने रैप करता था.
थोड़े हाव भाव बदल जाते हैं उनके.
I'm like, मैं तुम लोग के सामने कभी रैप नहीं करता था. I used to rap for myself and to get my family out of the situation that we are in, and that was the goal since day one, to get us out of whatever this is.
How is your relationship with your dad?
It was a very unconventional relationship, I would say, because my dad was kind of my boss.
Yeah.
Because दुकान पे बैठते थे. So it was not a very loving relationship, I would say. It was mostly cold. But as like I started sitting at the shop, and like I earned his respect as a young man, young smart man. So he was like, हाँ, बुद्धू तो नहीं है बेटा, अकलमंद तो है, दुकान तो चला ही ले रहा है. So then like I told him like, I don't want to do anything else. This is what I want to do. And he was skeptical initially, like any other Indian parent. But वो बोले ठीक है, 2 साल है तेरे पास, जो करना है कर ले, फिर देखा जाएगा. फिर 2 साल से ज्यादा ही लगा, बट हो गया कुछ तो. एंड एक बार मुझे याद है कि मुंबई मिरर के पेपर पे मेरा आर्टिकल आया था. सो आई शोड इट टू हिम, एंड मेरे सामने सही है. He then took that paper to the shop, and like everyone who was who he knew was walking up to him. He was like, "ये देखो मेरा बेटा पेपर में है, ये देखो मेरा बेटा पेपर में है." So he was someone who wouldn't really show the love, but he really loved, and you know, he was proud.
इंडियन फादर्स अपने सन्स को अफेक्शन क्यों नहीं शो करते, मुझे नहीं समझ आता.
I think क्योंकि उनके फादर्स ने भी उनको, या मेरे डैड का तो अलग ही सीन था कि when he was 11 his dad died and he had to come to Mumbai to feed, you know, on for his family. So his situation was entirely different. That man grew up with no love. All he knew his entire life was work, and even in his last moments all he could think of was work. So you know, I think it's just the way they were brought up. Nobody really gave them love, so they don't know how to show it back, and nobody taught them as well कि ये करना होता है, अपने बच्चों को प्यार करो, like show your sons love. And like when my sister was born, you would show her the affection that I was like, bruh.
But did you get it from your mom? क्योंकि ऐसे बोलते हैं mothers and sons and then fathers and daughters, no?
Yeah, mom loves me. And my mom is my world. Like I don't think I work for anything more than her happiness. Yeah.
For any young boy, how important is the validation of their father?
I think it's very important because it really, you know, validates you as a man in your head. Yeah, now I'm finally a man. My father thinks that I am good to go. So you always, you know, want that validation from your father, but you don't really get it till it's too late, you know. मैं अपना खुद का कॉन्फिडेंस बना चुका हूँ, खुद ठोकरे खा खा के यहाँ वहाँ पे, तब जाके पापा बोल रहे हैं गुड जॉब. I've already understood what I am, but I think that is something that our generation needs to carry forward and, like, you know, inculcate.
Break that cycle.
Yeah, break that cycle. That is something that I always tell my friends, that we are the ones who need to, you know, break every cycle that our parents, you know, were very obviously stuck in, and it could have passed on to us. But since we know that this is not right, we should inculcate that into our kids. Ki it's okay. You should be loved. You deserve love, and everyone else does it. Everyone else deserves it as well. And I don't know, man. It's just such a sensitive topic, you know, because nobody really focuses on these aspects, especially when we were coming up. Otherwise, you know, we would have been a much less traumatized generation, because my dad has given me some crazy belt treatments. So, but
sorry about that.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I think it somewhere, you know, straightened me up, because I think मैं उतना मस्तीखोर था कि मैं शायद मिस डायरेक्शन में चला जाता.
but मतलब मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि
there could have been a better way.
हाँ, like there has to have been a better way.
There could have been a better way, but I think it is what it is. Cannot change history, but what I can change is to not repeat that cycle and not put that same thing on my kid.
कोई memory आपकी lasting memory of your dad growing up outside of like a good memory or just a regular memory?
I think the time that was spent at the shop, I think that those are my
when he
most
was your boss.
yeah, that those were my most fond. That is my most fond memory of him, because that is how I envision my dad, like well and fine, actively, handling the shop and just shouting at customers. उधारी दे दो कि कब से रुका के रखा है.
अच्छा,
I
लोग
have sold a lot of pulse as well.
Really?
Yeah. This used to just keep going out of stock. It was a rage back then, but um, yeah, man, like that that picture. Like when I imagine my father, I imagine him at that shop, well and fine, just working. So those are my most fond memories. And also uh, when I surprised him and mom on their 23rd anniversary, I guess, and they were very happy. Like I surprised, like 21st एनिवर्सरी था शायद, और इसके पहले कभी उन्होंने ऐसा एनिवर्सरी नहीं मनाया था. सो आई रैंडमली गॉट अ केक एंड रात को 12 बजे काटा वाटा.
So cute.
Everyone was like mom and dad were very happy. So that is another fond memory.
They're proud parents today, I'm sure.
I mean, I hope dad is. Mom is very proud.
I'm sure he is as well.
Yeah, he was. That is at least something that I know, that he was proud of whatever I was doing and whatever I was achieving, because he saw me on TV before passing away. Sadly, he couldn't see the pop, like the moment where things escalated, because the day Jalaluddin aired is the day he collapsed. So it was bittersweet, because it was the highest of highs with the lowest of lows, and I just couldn't understand what was happening. Like one moment I'm seeing like my social media go crazy, and then right beside I'm seeing my father on the hospital bed, and none of this was
It mattered. None of it
none of
mattered.
it mattered. Like it felt useless. I'm like, I can't do anything here. So what is all of this worth? But yeah, he would have been proud to see whatever
मुझे
has happened.
वो है presence में I think
Definitely. I just hope, like I just wish that he could have been here.
Yeah,
to see
of
everything.
course. I don't think there's anything greater than like loss, like any greater loss.
And losing your parents.
Yeah.
Any of your
Vice
parents.
versa. Matlab any member of the family that you're very, very close to.
Yeah, because that is a spot that cannot be filled. You can have new friends, you can have a new relationship, but you cannot have new parents. You cannot have a new sibling suddenly out of nowhere. So those things hurt a little deep. They cut a little deeper, because that grief doesn't really go away for a while. Like it took me some time to get over my father's death. So it kind of gets hard on me.
I mean, I listen to these stories and I'm just like, of course, one, it is a constant reminder of the amount of privilege that I come from. वो तो चलो is one, but like मुझे ऐसे लगता है I'm so proud of people like you who come out of things better.
Definitely.
And
I
grow
think
from those experiences.
it's like the phoenix rises from the ashes.
Yeah.
So gotta inculcate that in life. And I tell my friends the same, like no situation is like ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि तुम overcome नहीं कर सकते. You can overcome anything. Because when I was telling my friends, like I think I am a little too detached, because even when that situation was happening, I was still focused on what I have to do, and like I was still writing there right besides. And it was a government hospital, and I don't know what had happened, but on the same hospital bed, previously, like the previous night, I think somebody had passed away, and it was, I don't know what, there was just blood everywhere, and they didn't even clean it for us. We were just sitting, like the chair I was sitting on, the floor was completely full of dry blood. The hospital bed my father was on, like the sides were full of dried blood, and I'm like, why are they not giving us like cleaner beds and everything? But still I was writing my words there. So I was like, I think I'm a little too detached, man. So they were like, no, it's more so your dedication to your art. Like, I don't know if I can like look at it like that.
I think you'll know in the next few years whether it's actually been detachment or whether
There's dedication.
हाँ
Maybe
पता लगेगा. I think time will
time will tell. Hopefully,
which of the two emotions is more sort of
Yeah.
prominent.
I hope so. Time has like answers for all these things, because a lot of questions are just like, what does all of this even mean? You know. But some answers I've gotten as time has gone by.
क्या आंसर मिले आपको?
I think coming out of a show like Hustle can really make you feel like this is how it's gonna be constantly.
बट ऐसे तो बिल्कुल नहीं होता है.
Yes.
इतने सारे हसल
But in the
कंटेस्टेंट
moment,
के लिए तो नहीं हुआ. I don't.
yeah, definitely. But like for me, post Hustle was like show after show, show after show. Like life was just moving. I wasn't.
And these were all paid gigs.
Yeah, most of them were paid gigs, and some of them were like shows that we had to do for Hustle. But other than that, it was like back to back, some brand collaborations. Some I was also working on my album, so my life was just insane right after Hustle. But as time goes on, things slow down slightly. Even though it's not like the end of the world, but it slows down slightly, and you have to then, you know, hold yourself from falling into that space where it's like, oh shit,
वो हाई के बाद
हाँ, जो
you know,
low आ
आप
रहा है कि,
जो
oh, things are falling apart. No, it's not. This is the obvious. Like after every upper curve, you have to come down a little for another curve. Like
yeah.
waves don't always come
Also,
like this.
मतलब ऊपर से जाके वो stabilize तो कभी होगा ही. वो
Yeah,
हमेशा
yeah.
ऊपर तो नहीं रहता.
Definitely, it's like it happens like this. Like sometimes it will be just like this, then
Yeah.
a peak, then just like this, then probably a little dip. But you
Law
cannot
of
really predict
averages
it.
catches up with everyone.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think किसी की भी life ऐसे linear ऊपर ही जाती है.
100%, 100%. And what that taught me was like you have to be happy within yourself. I had big trouble doing that in my younger days because
You had a tough life.
yeah, exactly. Coming from no privilege and like having nothing to our name,
Yeah.
like even till this date, like my father couldn't really make a house, like buy us a house or anything here because he was just stuck in his struggles and like लोगों ने धोखा वगैरह दिया, पैसे डूबे, काफी चीजें हुई. So when he passed away, it was like I have nothing to really fall back on. So if I didn't learn to love myself, I could have really been lost in that moment. But by the time that thing happened, I had somewhere, you know, started to understand that okay, you have to really, you know, take care of yourself first and your mindset, so you can take care of your family. And all these realizations, you know, kept hitting me at random times. It wasn't like कि एक दिन मैं बैठा और अचानक से आ गया. Like situations happen, and then you know your brain starts running, and then you obviously have those moments where you can't sleep, and you're tossing and turning, and then suddenly the thoughts begin. The voices start in your head, and then all of this comes to your head. But among the 90% negative voices, you have to look at the 10% positive. Even though the majority is negative, you still have to keep looking at the positive, no matter how small it is. And
But I'm so glad that you think like this because, you know, these are all like very big problems to actually come out of, right? Losing a
Sorry.
parent, you know, like struggling to make ends meet. These are real problems. But matlab, I see rappers having beef over such ridiculous things. और मुझे
Indian
नहीं
beefs are lame.
क्या है क्यों है इतनी resentment क्यों है आप छोड़ दो ना क्या
I
problem है
think it's just a byproduct of, you know, being inspired from where hip hop actually comes from. And hip hop is a sport. You know, rappers look at themselves like athletes. Because you have to battle, you have to cipher, you have to be the best. Similarly, in a sport like basketball, you have to be the best at whatever you do, no matter what position you hold in the court. So I think because of that sports angle, the battle angle comes in as well, and because of the battle angle, people think they can battle over anything.
हाँ मतलब ये इतने साल पुराने you know किसने क्या लिखा है छोड़ो यार
I mean,
both of you are doing so well like Ani and
people are
Bacha I'm
petty.
like just move on
Yeah, I mean that is just something that I have no idea what is going on.
no I think nobody has any idea and I'm just like but I would even understand if one person failed like a lot and the other
Mm.
person succeeded at their expense.
Yeah.
I'm like, Abhi, now you both are doing so well, now let it pass.
I think it's more so, more so the egos that comes into play, that your ego tells you to, really like, how can he do this? Doesn't matter if it's against you or what, like,
Yeah.
you just don't agree with that person's
Thought process.
thought process, values,
Yeah.
everything, existence, music. So you're like, you, I'm gonna diss you. And then it's like, okay, but what does it really mean in the long run if there's no,
Yeah.
real reason behind it? Like when you look at beefs outside, they brew over years, there's Cold War for years, and then they
Yeah, the
actually
Jay-Z
go at it.
and this one.
Jay-Z, Nas,
Yeah.
Kendrick, Drake.
Yeah.
It was years, it was a build up to the point where the battle actually happened. Here it's like, इसने कुछ बोला, हाँ ऐसा क्यों बोला तूने, da 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 da.
Diss track.
Yeah. I'm like,
Answer to everything is diss
let
track.
it build, bro. Like,
Yeah.
let us be invested in it for like 5-10 years, and then audience बोले कि भाई जब भी होगा मजा आएगा. So, and plus Indians, we are drama hungry people.
It's true.
We are very. I mean, why do TV shows work?
Yeah.
Indian TV shows, the Indian TV soaps that we see, like they are just pure drama bags.
Yeah.
Those shows have nothing. They don't even have a story. All they have is drama. So I think it's just the mentality. Like they know, the guys who do this, they know that this is gonna feed them.
Yeah.
So that's why they do it. It's purely business in my
I have a
opinion.
very burning question to ask you, if you have the answer.
Mhm.
Who wrote Brown Lunch?
I did. Look at me. I was in school. But
Epic song, जिसने भी लिखा है.
yeah, जिसने भी लिखा, good song. Back
Yeah.
in school days,
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan, but I used to listen to that song. I'm like, good song, man, crazy. India से है ये. ऐसा कि उसका production थोड़ा international था उस time के
हाँ.
हिसाब से, तो it was like, oh, India से ऐसा music भी आ रहा है, crazy. But yeah, we will never.
Give me like 5 rappers, and I know that of course you have like many favorites, but 5 that you really look up to and you're like, this is really cool. They've done something different and I love it.
Kendrick is like one of the greatest ever, according to me. Danny Brown is my personal favorite rapper of all time, because I've learned so much from Danny, and he's not a very famous rapper. Not a lot of people know him, but what he does is the way he puts his angst and his pain in his music, and the soundscape that he picks is insane. Like I don't think any other rapper raps on beats like he does.
Yeah.
Then obviously I started because of Eminem. So just because of that,
the real Slim Shady.
yeah, M deserves a spot just because of that, because there wouldn't have been maybe there would have been, but not at that point at least. There wouldn't have been a gravity without Eminem. So
I think many people would agree for
I
their
think most
journeys
of Indian
also.
hip-hop,
Yeah.
my generation, they're all like, they all started out because of him. I mean, I can take mainstream names as well. Like Jay-Z is one big inspiration. Nas is one of like the perfect rapper according to me. But
Indian scene में बताओ आपको कौन पसंद है?
I don't really look up to anyone in the Indian scene. But
whose music you like?
Right now, I think the newer crop is insane. They're doing some crazy stuff. Like Shikriwal. Shikriwal is amazing. What he's doing is like very alternative, very groundbreaking. My homeboy, my crewmate Farhan Khan, he's one of the best out there. He's doing an amazing job with the total package, whether it comes to music, production, videos, everything. Who else? My crew, Death Clutch Music. I think what we are bringing to the table, and Bombay Local as well. Like I'm part of 2 collectives.
Yeah.
So both these collectives, they are like very unique in their own lane, and I really liked a lot of what Char Diwali was doing early on. Now he's evolved and like he's taken his music to some different level, but like that early raw Diwali, I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
Other than that, there are many other people in the scene who are doing some insane work, like other than hip hop as well. Like I recently saw this video of this artist called Ankil G.
Okay.
It's Unkillji, UNKILLJI,
हाँ,
and it was very interesting.
क्या कर रहे हैं वो?
It's experimental music, like गा ही रहे हो, but it's
हम्म,
like very live instrumentation,
देखना
guitar
पड़ेगा.
work, yeah. And the
हम्म,
documentary was very crazy. The EP was called Stereotypical Mard. So it was
fascinating.
very interesting. So I liked that a lot. Um, and even Unial for that matter, जिसका गाना भी वो blow up हुआ था, वर्तमान आंखों का धोखा,
हम्म,
that guy. His videos are also very cool. Some
वर्तमान
cool shit.
आंखों का धोखा है.
भूत सीखने का मौका है,
हाँ,
भविष्य उम्मीदों की नौका है, आज
very
मेरा
cool.
संगीत से रोका है.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very
very
cool.
cool.
Very cool. Yeah, because it's like quotables.
Hmm.
And in hip hop, that's what, like you said, get down on your knees. Like it's a quotable.
Yeah,
It gets stuck in your head, and it can become your motto. It can become your, like, slogan.
yeah.
So those kind of bars will always
I
stick.
love how Samantha Prabhu was obsessed with this song.
Yeah.
Did she DM you? Did she tell you?
Yeah, like she followed me up front and texted me, and like back when Hustle was going crazy, the stories used to be like ऐसा पूरा list भरा होता था. So I was just scrolling through my message requests, and I'm like, verified 25 million followers. Who's mentioned me? And I'm like, Samantha Ruth Prabhu. So I go, and like first I saw a post, random post on my feed, where it was like Samantha shared Gravity's song Jalaluddin. I'm like, where? So I went and checked, and I saw that, and I was like, holy shit, this is real. So I went to the story, and she had posted a photo of me and put a crown GIF on top of it.
Oh, cute.
Well, that's really sweet. So later I got to know that she was going through a tough time in her
Yeah.
life back then. Like she had been treated with myositis, I guess, and that song gave her the motivation to get up every day,
Yeah.
work out. And
I mean, she cried when you sung it in front of her.
I kind of had an idea that she might get emotional, but I didn't expect her to full on like
Yeah.
cry. So it was a trip,
Yeah.
because how can my music affect someone so much? Like, no matter how powerful you think you are when it comes to being an MC, being a rapper, being a musician, you don't really expect these things to happen, like कि हाँ शायद होगा,
काश हो जाए, शायद हो जाए.
काश हो जाए, शायद होगा. But when it happens, it's surreal. It's like ये हो रहा है, like okay, people are like getting emotional to my song, and it's like helping them do something in their lives that they probably wouldn't have gotten the energy for without this song, which is insane to me. I'm like, okay, like music does make a difference.
Yeah.
I still can't
I
wrap
think
my head
music is
around it.
healing.
Definitely.
It's meditation. It's life changing.
Pop saved my life, so I can attest for that firsthand.
What are you looking forward to, Gravity, the most?
I'm looking forward to dropping insane music and changing the course of how people look at Mumbai artists and Mumbai rappers, and how they look at Gravity, because what I have lined up next is some insane music.
What is the vibe of that?
So I think I can drop the title here. It's called Bombay Bazaar.
Bombay Bazaar.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
so
cool name.
I am planning on working on like a trilogy. So it's gonna be like Bombay Bazaar, and then Mumbai's. Like I've still not decided on that, and then the third will be Bombay Royale. Like 3 individual projects, Bombay trilogy. So Bombay
Very
Bazaar
cool.
is.
What does Bombay mean to you? Clearly, it means enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm born here, brought up here, lived, struggled, so prospered in this city. Everything I do is like because of whatever I've learned here. So
पर बॉम्बे में ऐसी क्या बात है कि सब इतना obsess करते हैं?
I think it's the speed and the hustle. Everybody's doing something. You'll rarely see someone idle in Bombay. Everything is moving, and I am like exactly like that as a human being. I'm always on the move. You can ask my mom, कितना time रहता है घर पे? We've shifted in this new house in like January. I've not stayed more than 48 hours in that house, because I'm always on the move. I'm going to the studio, I'm going to do a photo shoot, I'm coming for a podcast, I'm going for an interview, something or like the other. And I'm always mostly working on music, because I don't think I love anything more than making music. Putting it out and everything is cool.
I think music loves you back.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, because I'm very lucky to be in this position that I am, because I've seen so many people try for years, and it doesn't really click for everyone. And it did for me. So I'm just grateful to the universe for whatever it has, granted me, because not everyone is this lucky to
Yeah.
come from where I come from and to reach in a position where you can at least, sustain and feed your family.
Yeah.
And being the man of the house, it's like even crazier. Okay, I'm doing this solely off of music. Like sometimes I just have to like talk to myself, like, bro, you did it. This was a dream.
Yeah.
And this is your life now. But now the dream is bigger.
Of course. How big does the dream go?
There is no borders around.
Stadiums?
Yeah. I think that's where normalcy begins in my head. Normalcy is stadiums. I think I'm yet to reach normal. Because the more I think the universe is a crazy, crazy thing where if you don't manifest big, it won't really give you what you
gotta dream big.
You gotta dream big to, get something at least around it.
Manifestations worked for you?
Insane.
What? Give me an instance where it's worked for you.
I'll give you a crazy instance. Very recent. Very
Batao.
recent. So, I did a song with this producer called Sprike. Insane producer, insane live visual artist. So he had a set at Lollapalooza. What happened was, a couple of days before that, I realized that I don't have a single footage of my father that exists. Because the conversation arose where people were like, why is your voice so deep? So I'm like, because my father's voice was even deeper. And then I was like, can I play them the audio? But I'm like, how do I play them the audio? And then the realization hit, I don't have any single footage of my father. So I'm like, damn. Then suddenly a bulb went off and I realized that back in 2020, a guy had shot some footage of my home life back then for a documentary that he was going to make, but he didn't end up making it, and he was a friend. So, and I had lost touch with this guy. So I'm like, damn, how do I reach out to him? And I had forgotten his IG username as well. Like, shit. I was like, please, let's just, if I can remember his username once, I can get my father's footage if he has it. That is another thing, that what if he doesn't have it? But then I go to Lollapalooza and this guy is working on the same stage that I'm performing on. And I see him and I'm like, Yogi. And he's like, his name is Yogesh. I'm like, Yogi, grab, kaisa hai wo? So in 2 minutes, I just had that conversation where I was like, oh, yaad hai tune mera documentary banaya tha? He's like, हाँ. मतलब उसमें ना मेरे पापा का footage है. And that is the only existing footage I have of my dad. So can you send it to me? I was like, sure, bro, मैं तेरे को पूरा footage भेजता हूँ. So I got that footage, and the first time I saw it, I just couldn't stop, myself from breaking down, because I heard him speak after 3 years. So it was insane. Like, I still can't believe that happened. Like, manifestation is insane. Like, you cannot predict how it can happen, where it can happen, but it did happen with me. So I can attest to that. Like, you can really get what you want if you want it with all your heart. वो कॉर्नी सा डायलॉग लगता है आज के टाइम पे, बट वो सच है कि किसी चीज को इतनी शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात उसे मिलाने के लिए लग जाती है. वही हुआ मेरे साथ भी, आई थिंक.
But that is a crazy story.
Yeah, and I still can't believe it that this happened. But I'm more than happy that I have footage of my father speaking now. I played it like 20 times.
I always like to say is because I say he is proud because I know that, that almost kind of simulates somebody's presence, like constant blessings, right?
And I think like your loved ones live through you somewhere. So I think
I'm sure he's
hopefully
very proud.
Seeing the world through my eyes now.
Yeah.
Wherever I'm traveling, because hip hop is taking me to so many places that I didn't even imagine, So,
best place you've been to because of hip hop?
Best place.
Or best stage?
Best stage. I think we had gone to this show, Neem Rana. Neem Rana mein show tha mera, and it was amazing fun because I trekked with the students there on the mountain the next day. So it was fun. I stayed an extra day. मेरा शो हो गया, मैं उसके बाद रुक के उन स्टूडेंट्स के साथ ट्रैक करके आया था. So it was very fun.
Very cool. जब आप दिल्ली आओगे next and you performing there, I'm definitely coming.
Yes, please.
I think we had spoken about this on text also, and I think I asked you when are you coming to Delhi? Are you performing in Delhi anytime soon or something like that? But I'm definitely coming. I'm getting my brother along as well.
Oh.
हमने इतना जैम किया आपके गाने को साथ में गाड़ी में, तो साथ में तो लाना पड़ेगा.
Definitely. But Delhi बीच में बहुत ज़्यादा आना जाना हो रहा था post hustle. Lately it's been like I'm making music, so I'm just like around the studio more. So I've not left Mumbai in a long time. पुणे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा गया हूँ मैं, but other than that I've mostly been in Mumbai.
Amidst all this like music making that you're doing and this trilogy that you're working on, how do you Gravity unwind after hours? What do you do to chill?
I just like मेरे जो crewmates है वही मेरे दोस्त है. So बस उनके साथ चिल करता हूँ मैं. हम लोग खाना बना, या तो अगर मेरा एक दोस्त है जो बहुत अच्छा खाना बनाता है, वो होता है तो हम खाना बनाते हैं स्टूडियो में ही, या तो स्टूडियो मतलब इट्स अ हाउस, तो किचन में खाना वाना बना देते हैं, या तो वी ऑर्डर एंड मोस्टली वी आर जस्ट ईटिंग, रिलैक्सिंग एंड मेकिंग,
चिलिंग.
खाओ पियो गाने बनाओ मजे करो. दैट्स द मोटो. और कभी भी हमेशा मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन ये रहता है कि हाँ सब लोगों ने खाना खाया है ना, सब लोगों ने खाया हुआ है, ठीक है चलो अब बनाते हैं गाना कुछ. Because I don't think anything great can happen on an empty stomach. So
I agree with you. I'm in complete agreement with you.
So I pay like that. I pay that the highest priority. Everybody should be fed. So,
अच्छा, before you go, we're gonna play this one game with you. थोड़ी सी पेचीदा है, पर मुझे पता है कि आप कर लोगे.
Okay.
ठीक है, तो गेम का नाम है it has to be like a pulse moment. It has to come from you. Little bit of rap. I'll give you situations. कुछ भी किसी का सुना, अपना लिखा, पुराना, कुछ impromptu आए तो वो freestyle जैसे भी, ठीक है. Your partner cheated on you and now they're playing the victim.
Wow. Okay. So I like rap around this.
कुछ भी, कहीं सुना भी है वो भी चलेगा.
I have like a couple of heartbreak songs, but those songs I don't perform. So I don't remember that bar, but there's this song called Ankahi. So like it goes like मैं तेरे बिना दर्द का शिकार दे मर्ज, आवारा सड़कों पे दे दो तुम कर्ज, जिन होठों से करती थी कानों में बातें अब उन्हीं से दे दो बेगाने को बख्श. चांद के चेहरे पे देखा तुम्हें, तुम दिन के उजाले में रातों का चैन, सब खोजते दौलत और शौहरत, मैं नींद को खो के हर लम्हे में खोजूं तुम्हें. So I don't think the cheating angle really comes in.
But ठीक है, the essence is there.
The essence is there.
Essence is there. You saw someone copy your sound or work. क्या बोलोगे आप उनको?
ऐसे तो मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. It's because imitation is flattery.
हाँ,
it's a form of flattery. So I'm like, thank you. But whack keep copying, but the real keep lobbying.
Nice. People who bullied you before are now wanting to come back in your life when you're famous.
दुनिया को मैंने कहा get down on your knees. मैं जला लूँगी.
Nice. Well done.
Yes. Thank
you. But that's that. Thank you, Gravity.
Thank
this
you so
was
much
a great chat. I love your music. I love your story. I wish you the absolute best in life. I'm rooting for you. And
rooting
course,
for you as well.
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to all the amazing music that you're going to come out with. Your new album and
Death Clutch Music, Balaclava coming soon, Bombay Bazaar coming soon. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. But before you go, we have a little gift for you.
Oh.
क्योंकि आपने पल्स की बात करी थी.
Yes.
And how it's a memory. And वो बहुत जल्दी जाती थी, तो मैं आपको बहुत सारा सप्लाई दे रही हूँ पल्स का.
Sorry.
हाँ, कोई बात नहीं.
Thank you so much. Wow, life comes full circle. But thank you.
Life comes full circle. Thank you for coming, Gav, and huge fan and always will be.
Thank you so much.
Thank
My pleasure.
you.
Had a great time.